We're still a couple of weeks away from the start of the NFL season, but I know everybody right now is knee-deep in drafts. Redraft, home leagues, dynasty leagues. It's draft season right before the start of the NFL season. So today we're taking a look at my 2026 running back rankings for redraft. RBs are still king. I know everybody wants to chase the wide receiver, and there's some damn good ones at the top, but you need you some stud running backs walking out of your draft early. Now, something a little different about my rankings and my projections and how I'm going to do things this year is just understanding the game of football is volatile. And because the game is volatile and because we actually don't play fantasy football, we play a proxy for a game, I am ranking and projecting based on a range. Every player's got a range. Bijan Robinson's ceiling is much higher than the ceiling of a player like Javonte Williams. The offense, his skill set, his involvement in the receiving game. So for me to just print out one number and say this player is projected for 15 points this week, I want a range. I want to know what's the floor level outcome, what's the projected stat line, and if all the stars align in that given week, what might that ceiling be like for that player? And that is exactly how my rankings engine is ranking these players and projecting these positions based on ceiling, based on value, replacement level stuff, and just the game of football. So it'll be a fun exercise to walk through about 50 of these running backs. Got to talk about where people are taking them right now, why they're slotted in the positions that they're slotted in, and talk about some of that ceiling level outcome for some of these players. So I'm glad you're here. Glad you're tapped in. I'm going to get you in. I'm going to get you out. This is actionable. If you want to dive more into this stuff, range of outcome tool on the website, full projections, season long. We'll have weekly projections every single week right here on ddfantasyfootball.com. But let's get into it. We got about 50 to get through. Appreciate y'all being here. Let's go. All right, let's start this thing off at the top. Big three, tier one, not a big surprise here. Bijan Robinson comes in number one, Jahmyr Gibbs, and then Christian McCaffrey. If you want to have Gibbs at one, no problem. You want to have Bijan Robinson one, I'm not going to argue you. And Christian McCaffrey is in line for a massive workload once again in San Francisco. You see, he scored 25 points per game last year, projected right now for about 21.2 points per game. So you can see he's projected at a median level higher than Jahmyr Gibbs, but Gibbs' ceiling is higher. That's why he is ranked ahead of Christian McCaffrey in my rankings engine right now. So that's your big three. No big shock, no big surprise there. Jonathan Taylor kicking off tier two as RB4 for me. This is a player, I think people forget just how freaking good Jonathan Taylor was to start last season prior to things falling off the rails for the Indianapolis Colts. And let me just show you that game log, how he started off his season. We're talking about 29, 32, 31 points, 23 points, 34 points, 37. He had a 7-point week against Pittsburgh. And then that Germany game, he dropped 50 on people's head. After that, he didn't have another game over 17 points. So remembering how good he was prior to the entire offense falling off the face of the earth is very important because Jonathan Taylor is still a damn good running back. And for me, coming in as RB4 with James Cook topping out at RB5. I'm hoping we get a little more involvement from James Cook in the receiving game from Buffalo. They're talking about him being utilized in the passing game more. Incredible player. And I know a lot of people have issues. James Cook, once they get to the goal line, Josh Allen is going to QB sneak it in. He's going to run it. No touchdown upside for James Cook. Well, here you can look at the advanced rushing chart for Cook. Look how many long, explosive touchdowns James Cook had on these runs. He had more long touchdown plays than Bijan Robinson had last year. So this was a player who really took his game to another level in 2025 with some of the injuries to Todd Johnson and some of the ambiguity in the receiving room after DJ Moore and Khalil Shakir. They're talking about involving him more through the air. A big fan of James Cook, maybe one of the more underrated top 5 finishing running backs that we have projected for right now across fantasy football. Devon Achane also inside of that year too. I know a lot of people are concerned about the Miami offense, and I put out a tweet the other day that ruffled a lot of feathers, and I don't know why, because all I said is, what if Malik Willis is a little bit better than everybody is giving him credit for right now? And I know the offense looks bad, but they've got offensive line. I understand the receiving room isn't Cincinnati. It's not Dallas, but you got probably 2 of the higher usage rate players in the NFL this year with Achane and Malik Willis, that RPO game, Bobby Slowick outside zone. I just have no concerns about Achane. The ceiling is high, his involvement on the ground and through the air. And then when you look behind Miami, the depth behind Achane, Jalen Wright and Ollie Gordon, they're fine backup running backs, but they're not going to pull anything away from Achane. Still haven't projected very high with a high ceiling. So that's my top 6. You got Gibbs, Bijan, McCaffrey, JT, James Cook, and Devon Achane. And then it starts to get interesting once you get down here around tier 3, because it's filled with a bunch of players who we want to be really good, who have been really good in the past and maybe didn't show that last season, but have opportunity this year to really make amends for some of the down production that we got last year. And that's led by Kenneth Walker. Going into a team with Patrick Mahomes coming off of an ACL tear, he ran around like crazy last year. We would talk about it every single week. Hey, if Kansas City wants to win, they got to find somebody else to tote the rock outside the damn quarterback, Patrick Mahomes. This is the best running back they've had since Kareem Hunt was toting the rock for him back in 2017, 2018. It's the best running back they've had. They brought him in for a reason. They paid him big money. That was their priority free agent guy. Eric Bieniemy's back in the room. Kenneth Walker, although he only had 11 points per game last year, this is a player, median level projection for me, right around 14.5 points, but he's up high because the ceiling is high inside of this offense. Yes, they've got a bunch of depth behind him. Emery DeMarcado, Rashard Smith, everybody likes him and Johnson, but this offensive backfield is going to run through Kenneth Walker. He's going to get every opportunity to make good on his Super Bowl MVP performance back in January and show why Kansas City paid him big money. So K9 coming in pretty damn high for me, RB7 this 2026 season. Derrick Henry, the king, is still going to get fed. Wish he would catch a couple of more passes. He did do that last year to a degree. I mean, you're talking about a player who's walking into another 300-touch season for Derrick Henry. He's going to be right at the top. I'm not worried about age. None of that shit with Henry. You ride that until the wheels fall off. Chase Brown, big-time opportunity this year for Chase Brown inside of this Cincinnati offense. Last year, RB8 from a point-per-game perspective, 4 receiving touchdowns, over 419 yards. And then when you just look at his rushing chart, what he did that without any big-time explosive runs for touchdowns. So if Chase Brown can add some of that to his game, I've got him projected right here. You can see at the top, over 1,100 yards on the ground, 8 rushing touchdowns for Chase Brown. We're projecting him to finish right around that RB10 spot right here. You can find this all on the site. Advanced charts. You could look at advanced routes, rushing stuff. Really cool information to help you really, kind of drill down what you want for your drafts. And we're looking at PPR. We're looking at PPR, but if you wanted to adjust to half PPR, you could do that, and the projection would adjust for half PPR. If you play in a point per carry league and you want to see what those projections look like or what that 25 point per game outcome would have looked like from point per carry perspective, just click that button right there. Boom. Now you see Bijan's up to 27 points per game. Christian McCaffrey in a point per carry league was getting you 30 points per game. Running backs are still king. We are looking at PPR, so we'll switch back to that. Derrick Henry, Chase Brown, Omarion Hampton coming in as RB10. I know they're probably going to use a couple of different backs. Keaton Mitchell in the receiving game. Kamani Vidal. This is a 6'2", 230-pound monster with Mike McDaniel. Outside zone. We saw a 90+% catch rate for Omarion Hampton last year when he was on the field. You see it right there. 15 points per game when he was healthy. The problem was he only played 9 games. Tyler Biadasz going down definitely hurts some of the outcome of the entire offense, but I'm not worried about Omarion Hampton at all. Still a top 10 back for me. ADP's going off the board pretty damn high, right? Right there at the back of the second round, 24. I am aggressive on Omarion Hampton. Talked about him on Yahoo with Matt Harmon. I love the cost, love the price, and I do think he will return the value in which you draft him. Saquon Barkley at 11. They got to run the ball. They didn't do a good job of running the ball last year. You got to get Saquon going. No A.J. Brown. I don't care how bad you thought he was last year. Losing him from that offense doesn't make the offense better. Makai Lemon is back, practicing healthy. Good. You got Smitty on the outside as well. They are going to have to lean on Saquon Barkley, run the ball, and get him looking like that 2024 version of himself. Jeremiyah Love still top 12 coming in as RB12. I know the ankle injury is not what we want to hear right before the season starts. There's probably going to be more work that's dished out to Tyler Algier if James Conner's on the roster, which it looks like as they released Trey Benson, brought him back, put him on like the injury reserve or whatever it is. But Love's not going to get all the work. But the ceiling case outcome and his involvement in the receiving game is what makes it really exciting. I've got him projected for over 40 receptions, close to 400, 500 receiving yards. And you want that in combination with the rushing upside. Jeremiyah Love's still a good bet. Feel a lot better about where his ankle is today compared to another running back that we'll talk about in a little bit. So at 13, Kyren Williams clocks in. Yes, Blake Corum is going to play more this year, but this is a great offense. Number one projected offense in the NFL. Kyren Williams is just a walking 1,000-yard rusher, despite the fact that he doesn't rip off any big explosive plays. He's involved enough in the receiving game to matter a little bit. Still a top 15 running back for me coming into the season. Now we go on to tier 4, where Josh Jacobs sits alone inside of tier 4. There are some reports today that they are expecting, and by they, the Green Bay Packers are preparing for a potential suspension of Josh Jacobs. So I've got him projected missing 2 games right now. If it comes out that he's going to be totally fine, he's not going to face any suspension for the stuff that happened with him and Ash Cash, then we'll bump Josh Jacobs up, because in a point per carry league, he is going to tote the rock. Now, Marshawn Lloyd looks good. And I do think Marshawn Lloyd is going to have a big role inside of this offense, especially if he stays healthy. So maybe this RB 14 range is probably pretty appropriate for Jacobs. But if the news comes out that he's not going to miss any time, we'll bump Josh Jacobs up from this RB 14 spot. Rounding out the top 15, yes, Ashton Jeanty still there. I've got Ashton Jeanty as RB 15. I have adjusted the projections on Jeanty overall, though. I've adjusted those down. I've got him projected right at 899 rushing yards. He was right at 888 last year, so right at 900 rushing yards. Still have the touchdowns high, 9 rushing touchdowns for Ashton Jeanty. We'll see. We'll see. I'm a little concerned. I think we all are a little concerned. And what's more concerning with me is not the fact that he won't be able to tote the rock out of the backfield, but how much is he going to be involved in the receiving game? It's kind of surprising, but 73 targets, 55 catches, 346 last year, and 5 touchdowns. You want him to continue to be a big focal point of the receiving game, especially in a Raiders team that their number one wide receiver is probably Trey Tucker. So very unproven from that regard. So Jeanty, we'll see. We still have a couple of weeks until the start of the season. If we get more clarity, he's going to be ready in a couple of weeks. He's going to miss half the season. He's going to miss 6 games. We'll adjust. The weekly rankings will be reflective of actually what's happening in the moment. We're trying to project a little forward and help you out for your drafts. Let's go to 16. David Montgomery coming in as RB 16. He's going to split some time with Woody Marks. There was a report, 50-50 split. I'm still going to lean closer to 60-40 with Monty taking the lion's share of the rushing opportunity and Woody Marks really being involved in the receiving game. DeAndre Swift, RB 17. Love him. Think he's a great get, a great target. Got him as a top 20 running back with enough upside to matter, especially in a room where Kyle Monanga's banged up right now for the Chicago Bears. At 18, Bhayshul Tuten from the Jacksonville Jaguars. Big fan of his game. Yes, Chris Rodriguez is going to be in play. Chris Rodriguez is going to get carries. Chris Rodriguez may even vulture touchdowns. But Quint Allen is hurt. No Travis Achane. This offense is going to need Tuten to create those explosive plays, and there's no running back on this current roster more explosive than Tuten in an offense that we think can take another step forward this year, second year in Lean Cohn's scheme. So Bhayshul Tuten at 18. We got Javonte Williams at 19, rounding out tier 5. Great offense, dope running back, showed that he can handle the workload last year. What you want is a little more work in the receiving game for Javonte Williams, and we can move him up the board a little bit. Just a little more receiving work would be nice for Williams, but at RB19, his potential ceiling outcome inside this great offense is dope. And you see the heat map it's going from bright green and starting to get a little yellow, a little brown right here, because this is, we're moving down the board. We're working our way down. Let's get into that tier 6 range. Forgotten running back, Bucky Irving. I know it wasn't the season that we wanted last year, injuries for Bucky Irving. Gainwell's got a role, and his role should not impede and come into conflict with Irving's as much. This is going to be the primary ball carrier for Tampa Bay, and Bucky is good in the receiving game. While I do believe Kenneth Gainwell will lead that team or lead that running back room in receptions and receiving yards, I don't think that renders Bucky Irving to a 0. There are reports that Sean Tucker may not make the team, so it could be even more volume headed Bucky's way. And when you're talking about a young wide receiver core with Ted Hurst maybe being a starter, Emeka Egbuka in year 2, yes, you got Chris Godwin. They're probably going to need him and Gainwell to do damage out of the backfield. So I am probably a little higher than consensus on Bucky Irving. Cam Scatterbu is going to make his hay in the receiving game. He's coming in at RB21. Travis Achane at RB22. And yes, that is his last name. That's one where these next two, Travis Achane and Breece Hall, are two where Breece is injured right now. I still have him projected for over 1,000 yards. It's Aaron Glenn. It's Frank Wright. It's this continued discussion around a three-man rotation in the backfield. Breece and Achane are the two that I think can move up a little bit. When I'm looking at like Bhayshul Tuten, DeAndre Swift, maybe Ashton Jeanty isn't 100%. As we inch closer to the season, those are two names right now being drafted incredibly high. When you look at Breece, 15.2 points per game last year, I've got him dropping down right now. Median-wise is 13-1, but that's because of the injury. It's flagging that. They say he's going to be ready by week 1. You just don't want groin injuries in your running back this close to the season. But again, we're recording this August 26th. We work our way down to September 1. September 9, when the season starts, we'll have more information and know if Breece Hall is full go or if he's going to be splitting time with Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis to start the season. So that's tier 6, top 23 running backs. Let's pull up the board. Let's go 24 through 30. 24 through 30. I think this is a really good pod of running backs. Rhamondre, Stevenson, the reports are coming out. Like, this is the lead back. TreVeyon Henderson's going to get his. TreVeyon Henderson's going to play, but Rhamondre Stevenson, and one of the hidden values in Stevenson's game that I don't think people pay attention to enough was how good he was in the receiving game. Top 15 last year in RB air yards. Shout out to Ben Gretsch for that one, talking about RB air yards being a big factor in some of the ceiling case outcomes for these players. Hendo's going to be the explosive, big play kind of guy, but Rhamondre seems to be the preferred favorite and the most trusted running back in that New England Patriots backfield, at least right now. Jadarian Price, rookie running back for Seattle, he's going to get his. He has not played in the preseason. They ain't going to play him in the preseason because they're saving their first-round rookie running back for week 1 of the regular season. It's not going to be George Hilani. It's not going to be Emmanuel Wilson. Now, I am a little concerned that they're saying Zach Charbonnet may be back by week 1. And if Charbs is on the field, it definitely is going to impact Jadarian Price. But where we sit today, I'm still very skeptical with him suffering that ACL tear, late December, early January, him being fully ready at the start of the season. So Jadarian Price in a really good spot. Then you've got Quinshon Judkins, Kenneth Gainwell, Rico Dowdle, Jonathan Brooks, and Tony Pollard. Tell you right now, one of the best values out of this top 30, Tony Pollard. He's going to lead Tennessee in rushing. Hell, he might lead them in touchdowns. Love Tony Pollard. We saw his use in the receiving game in that first preseason game. He did it last year. 4 straight seasons over 1,000 yards for Tony Pollard quietly. Love him. If I'm getting him ADP 98 right now, RB 30, that can give me a little higher ceiling, I'm all in on Tony Pollard. Jonathan Brooks looks good. It's good to see him back playing fast, playing healthy. No Chuba Hubbard. Brooks has got some upside potential as well. We're all within that RB3 range right now. Rico Dowdle is printing for me, no matter how I slice it, as the RB1 in Pittsburgh, the leading ball carrier in Pittsburgh, the leading rusher. Now, Jaylen Warren projected for more receptions, more yards, but Rico Dowdle on the ground is projecting like the best running back in Pittsburgh. Another one of those guys where you don't really like the name. It's just Rico Dowdle. But I don't know how y'all feel about that Pittsburgh offense. I don't think they want Aaron Rodgers dropping back 40 times a game. You probably want both of these running backs out of Pittsburgh. Kenneth Gainwell, all receiving work. I mean, he is damn near the 3rd leading receiver in Tampa Bay after Emeka Egbuka and Chris Godwin. He's going to get his carries on the ground, but that's why Bucky Irving is a little higher, because he's going to be involved in the receiving game and be the primary ball carrier. But I do like Kenneth Gainwell a lot, especially in PPR leagues. Quinshon Judkins, RB26. This is one where I want to have him higher. I talked about him as a breakout running back this year. I am very concerned about this Cleveland offense. This Deshaun Watson thing, the lack of what is projecting to be an explosive offense right now, it's just lowered everybody. I love Harold Fannin. I had to knock him down. Love Casey Concepcion. No, I don't think he's going to be a 1,000-yard rookie receiver. And the same with Judkins. I do still have Quinshon Judkins projected to go, over 1,000 rushing yards on the season. Points per game projected to be right there as RB24. Yeah, right at 1084, 9 rushing touchdowns for Quinshon Judkins. 827 last year, and he didn't even play the first couple of games. He didn't have any kind of training camp practice. He was dealing with his own legal stuff. I like the player. Just concerned a little bit about the offense in Cleveland. So Quinshon coming in at RB 26, Gainwell 27, Dowdle, and then Tony Pollard at 30. Now, Jaylen Warren, you see him. We talked about Rico Dowdle, his running mate, there at 28. Jaylen Warren is there, and the receiving work is going to keep him afloat. And Aaron Rodgers made Kenneth Gainwell look real good last year in that role. Really like Warren, still a top 36 running back. J.K. Dobbins, Chuba Hubbard, R.J. Harvey, and TreVeyon Henderson. Yes, Big Hendo. TreVeyon Henderson right here is RB35, still within that RB3 range, and that's where I think he is. He's probably an RB2, RB3 to start the season. If something happens to to Rhamondre Stevenson, yes, you can bump him up. But all reports are Rhamondre Stevenson. I know you may not like it, and you love Henderson, and you're a big Ohio State fan, but all reports are TreVeyon Henderson is the guy. I mean, that Rhamondre Stevenson is the guy in New England, which means TreVeyon Henderson would be that complimentary running back, big play, explosive guy. I trust it. Rhamondre was good last year. Rhamondre was good. They brought him back. They paid him money. Henderson still inside that top 26. R.J. Harvey, I think he takes another step forward with Sean Payton in the receiving game this year. Matt Harmon and I were talking about it yesterday. A lot of people not talking about Harvey because, oh, well, he didn't have as many rushing yards as I wanted last year. He scored 12 damn touchdowns, 7 on the ground, 5 through the air. Saw that preseason game with Bo Nix. He was working out of the backfield, RB air yards, and he's going to be the primary running back that's catching the ball from Bo Nix, who people already call a check down Charlie. So check him down to R.J. Harvey. Let me draft him. J.K. Dobbins going to lead their team when healthy in rush attempts and rushing yards. I firmly believe that. And if something were to happen to Dobbins, I do think that would give Harvey a little more boost. But Sean Payton's always had a role. He's always had his running backs in role. Mark Ingram, Reggie Bush, Deuce McAllister, Pierre Thomas. It does not matter. Alvin Kamara never had 1,000 yards, but he was his team's primary receiving back out of the backfield. Not comparing Harvey to those guys, but I do think his role is solidified. And because of that, in a format that I play in, PPR, hell yeah, I want him. Now, half PPR, maybe you value some other running backs who are just going to tote the rock, like straight up between the 20 carries, a little more than Harvey. But in PPR, absolutely sign me up for some RJ Harvey. Zach Charbonnet printing his RB36 again with the reports that he could be ready by week 1. If that doesn't happen, we'll knock his ass back down, get him up out of that top 36. Let's take a look at this final tier 11 and group of running backs. Most of these running backs are ones that you can't predict to have a ton of volume. These are running backs that are projected to be backup running backs on their team or complementary running backs. There is some upside if something were to happen, but let's just take a look. Aaron Jones, leading off tier 11, projected for 10 points per game, followed by the 2 Washington Commanders running backs, Bill Krosky-Merritt and Rachaad White. Kyle Monangai, Woody Marks, Mike Washington. Interesting tier. Interesting grouping of running backs. Woody Marks, they're already talking about a 50-50 split with David Montgomery. I don't know if it's going to be that close, but I do think Woody's going to have a role in this offense. He's going to have a role in the receiving game, which means I kind of want him as a lower-end flex option, backup running back. Kyle Monangai, if he's healthy, then he's going to be a big part of the offense. He factored in last year, and maybe not so much of being an elite running back, but if something were to happen to Swift, you know he can handle the workload in that one-game sample size. We got to see what's going on in Washington. I think Bill is banged up. Rachaad White messed up his hamstring doing the challenge, so hopefully he's good by the start of the season. And then Mike Washington, all the way down here. Got him projected for right around 8.5 points per game right now, and that's with the assumption that Ashton Jeanty is going to miss some time to start the season. If it comes out that Ashton Jeanty isn't going to miss any time, which we all think he will, Mike might move down slightly, but not much. I think he's got a role inside of this offense. Clint Kubiak wants to use multiple running backs. If Ashton Jeanty is going to miss more time, Mike Washington will move up even higher. I don't know how much of value you can get right now, but I mean, I got him pretty late in one of my home leagues the other day. Mike Washington, a backup running back that I still want that could potentially lead his team at least early to start the season. Kamara's banged up. They say he'll be back by week 1. If he's on the field, he's going to play his receiving down role, and that's going to pull some stuff away from the rest of the running back room. But outside of that, I think we've seen the best days of Alvin Kamara, and that's why Travis Achane is in the building. Blake Corum going to work more into the offense, but as a standalone asset, pretty tough with Kyren Williams being there, valued as a top 15 back. Tajay Spears, Justice Hill, and Chris Rodriguez also inside of this tier as running backs who are going to play, have a small workload, and be more of a gnat to the starting running backs on that team. Isaiah Pacheco, I know nobody likes him, but if something were to happen to Jahmyr Gibbs, he is in one of the best offenses in the NFL. He's no David Montgomery, but he would probably get the ball and probably be effective close to the goal line. So somebody you're not drafting, But on waivers, you probably just want to have a star next to Pacheco just in case, knock on wood, something happens to Jahmyr Gibbs, which you don't want to happen. Brian Robinson, Jordan Mason, Dylan Sampson, Tyler Algier, Braylon Allen. Again, interesting grouping of running backs. These are all backup running backs who will have some role inside that offense come Sundays on real football field. From a fantasy perspective, we're talking about 6, 7, 5 points per game. Not any standalone value on their own, but if Breece Hall is not all the way right for week 1, Braylon Allen moves up. Jeremiyah Love is not right by week 1. Tyler Algier, we move him up. Dylan Sampson, I kind of like his receiving role. Can't start him at 6 points per game projected right now, but if it shows that he's going to be more involved in that receiving game, he moves up as well. And if Jordan Mason, which some people have said he is the best looking running back in Vikings camp, if he's right, he's going to move up as well, potentially over what we have projected as the starter, Aaron Jones, right now. So again, backup running back tier, last round dart throws, waiver wire picks, some of them in better offenses than the others. Some of the pathways may be independently clearer than others, but this is that range right there, that 7 to 8 to 5 point per game range for these running backs. There's a couple other guys down there, Malik Davis, Isaiah Davis, Zach Charbonnet, but you could check this out on the site. Again, you could filter PPR, half PPR, point per carry. It changes everything up for you. You can go into the profiles, take a look at how good the players were in certain situations. You can look at the rushing charts, advanced metrics, see how many long touchdown runs Bijan Robinson had. Where did he run the ball? How does this look like compared to a Tyler Algier? You can find all of this information right there on the website on your screen, ddfantasyfootball.com. I appreciate y'all pulling up today, going through my early, or I guess it's mid-August, 2026 redraft running back rankings. We'll do another refresh before the season starts, and weekly projections. The weekly projection engine is up and live, and we will have a weekly projection show right here on the channel. Hit the thumbs up button, show love, subscribe to the channel, comment below, and until next time, I'll see y'all later. I'm out. Peace.